Hey guys, Mitch here from the AudioDabbler YouTube channel. Changing my setup a little bit. Got my camera over here, and I got a Logitech C920 right in front of me that I can look into, and I'm recording it. And so maybe I can professionalize my videos a little bit better, a little bit more. But today I'm going to take a look at Beatmaker 3 and the scene and song and pattern selections, and kind of how I've kind of have a grasp on how they are, but I know to teach something is to know it, and this will help me know if I know it or not. So anyway, so let's just get started laying down a beat. I'm just going to drag in. Now, this is a brand new session, but this is also a new installation of Beatmaker 3. I haven't committed anything yet as far as spending hours importing samples and things like that, and I probably won't until I upgrade my iPad to one of the iPad Pros with at least 256 gigs of space, and so I'll probably just live with just onesies and twosies with Beatmaker 3. But anyway, so I have my Minilab mapped. Ooh, back down. So I have my Minilab mapped to these pads, and I just want to throw down a quick pattern. And so I just hit, I like to hear the metronome, then I just hit record, and then it's recording, but you kind of don't see anything. You see playing song. And so what it's doing right now is anything that I play in here is going to record into song mode. Okay, so now I can stop that, and now we have a 2-bar pattern that it kind of automatically saw. And then if I go into kind of the song mode selection, I go in the pattern, and there's my 2-bar pattern. If I go into the scenes, you'll see that 2-bar pattern here, but and then in song mode, you'll see it way over here. Now in song mode, it's deselected right now because you're not gonna. It's not going to play in song mode because I have a pattern selected, and you can see pattern A1, pattern 1, and that's what's playing, and that's playing in the scene mode. But if I go to song mode and I hit this little play bar up here, now you can see A1 playing song, and that's important later on when you want to record a longer loop over multiple instances of, like, say, pattern 1 drums, pattern 2 drums, pattern 3 drums, pattern 1 drums as like a verse, and you want to record something over those patterns, then it works really well is having song mode play for the drums, and then in the scene mode have it muted in the song mode, but you'll be able to record the whole pattern over. And try out different things over a larger section of different songs, because if you're in scene mode, then you're only going to get to play one pattern per horizontal line. So A1 right here is in a horizontal line. It's not traditional like most loopers or grid style looping where it's kind of a vertical. So everything in this one right here is one track, everything in this column is one track. This one is laid out to where everything in this row is one track, and then the scenes are the vertical. So it's just kind of flip-flopped. So it's kind of thing about looking at like with your head sideways, trying to, oh, okay, I get it now. But maybe they could flip it around. I'm not for sure. But anyway, so we got that one pattern going, and then if we want to create another pattern, we can easily create another pattern. And we don't have to select any other scenes or whatever. If you're just wanting patterns and then throw them in song mode, you don't have to select any more scenes. You can just have that one scene. But do note that whenever I click on pattern 2 with this one selected, it's going to put pattern 2 in that scene. So just know that. Let me see what else. Okay, and so now I'm in pattern 2. I can hit record, and you can see pattern 2 is going. And it's automatically overdubbing, and so And if I want to, say I like that pattern, but I want to kind of make it longer, I can go in here and I can select, highlight everything and duplicate it, and now it becomes a, and then I change it to a 2-bar duration. Okay, so now I think I have that kind of wanky a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now if I want to overdub in pattern 2 over the 2-bar section, now I can. Okay, and so now that's created another pattern. Okay, and so now we go, let's create another bank. Let's bring in the summer sub to get some bass going on. So let's go to scenes and let's do pattern 1. And so really, like, this took me a little while to kind of get the hang of it, a little bit of finger dancing. But you kind of want to have this section up here highlighted when you're switching between patterns, because that's going to bring up this menu, and it's kind of pattern based, but you can do it more in a linear fashion, but this is more pattern based. You can create the different patterns and then you can drag them into the songs. So if I want the pattern 1 right here and I want it playing, okay, now I can go to B1, I can create a new pattern here, select it, and if I want it to be 4 bars, it should line up. Okay, so sometimes they're not actually in sync. You can kind of see them not in sync here. So now they're in sync. Oh, I wasn't recording. Hey, I like that beat too. See if I can remember it. Okay, so we got that little drum beat going. And so without even having to stop anything, I can go back here. I can bring in another pattern here. I can bring in the summer organ. I can click on this and you can see C1 playing song. And so right now if I recorded, it's going to record based on this timeline right here in the song mode. But if I just want to create a pattern, I can create a pattern, click on the pattern, and now you can see C1 is playing the pattern. And then I can bring it to a duration of 4. Nothing's recording, so I can so I like that. So now I can hit record, and now it's going to be recording. So whenever it gets back around, so there's a little bit of a mix up, and it probably has something to do with the quantization, but anyway, you can see the point is, you know, you can start layering in. And if I wanted to create, as this is going, if I wanted to create another pattern, now it's going to be, and I wanted to create like a 2-bar pattern. Okay, so one thing it is, it's kind of, I don't know, there's a little bit of a sync issue sometimes when you're creating new patterns, but let's see. Limited. I can create another pattern if I want to over these beats. Okay, so, but where I was talking about earlier is, let me go back to song mode. Okay, so now I have a few patterns here. If I click on song mode, now nothing is in here really. I have a bunch of scenes, but I don't have a bunch of I don't have anything in here. So if I click play up here, that's going to initialize the song mode, and then just like C1 playing song, I can start dragging in pattern 1, I can drag in pattern 2, another pattern 2, maybe a pattern 3, right? There's nothing on pattern 3, but if there was, it would be there. Okay, so that's as simple as that. So now I'm building up my arrangement of my song, and then I can click on B1, and you can see B1 playing song. You know, I can start just, you know, copying them like that, and then I click on A1. You know, I've got pattern 3 going right here. I don't have anything on it. I got pattern 2. You know, pattern 2. So you can just start building up and arranging your songs. Now there's a few little quirks about in the song mode, is when you drag one over another one, it seems to kind of overlap, and so you'll play all the patterns at the same time, which can be good. I watched a video earlier that they had, like, in one bank they had some drums and a little piano part, and so they had brought out just a little piano part, and they had a drum part, and then it was all the same patterns, and so he drug it over, and then once you have 2 clips, and I can show you right here, say pattern 2 and 3 kind of overlapping each other. If I click here, kind of drag in a little bit, and I select those 2, I have a merge, and so you can merge it into its whole new pattern, which is kind of fun, you know, depending on, you know, what you have. But it won't do it across multiple banks. It'll only do it on the same bank. But what I would really like to see is more so the ability to, and it kind of works sometimes, but not all the time. It's kind of, see, it's moving, but then it's not moving. So it depending on where you're dragging, it'll either be moving, or it will kind of change the length of the pattern. So it's a little bit weird and a little bit kind of hard to do sometimes, but it works out, you know. And then you can drag another pattern 2 in like that. Okay, so now you've got all this going, and say you want another bank. But say you want to be able to record, so what else do we have? Soul keys. All right, let's get some keys going. All right, so say you want to lay down some keys over this, but you create a pattern. So you could easily do it in song mode, but if you're in scene mode, you're not going to be able to go from different. I guess I'm trying to say, if you're in scene mode and you want to create a pattern over, and you want to hear it played over multiple different scenes, multiple different sets of drums, then it would kind of be a little wanky doing it this way, because you're going to have to be flipping back and forth. But the cool thing about this is I can create a pattern, click on the pattern, and now D1 is playing in scene mode, but everything else is playing in song mode. And so if I was to go here, drag pattern 1 right here, let's grab it and drag, you can see that it's not letting me drag it. Hold on, there we go. You can see that it's kind of hard to see, but it's deselected. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow me to, say, bring this all the way up to 8 bars, press play, and it's playing pattern 1, but everything else is playing kind of this song mode. And so if I have a part I want to loop, okay, so if I want to, you know, kind of record that, it's kind of fun to be able to record that 8-bar pattern and hear it across. So you're kind of hearing it across multiple scenes or patterns, if you will. So let me check my time. Okay, I'm good on my time. So if I hit record, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now you should have all of that, and now we should be able to press play. So that's that. And so now if I go back to song mode, if I hit play, so now everything's like that. And so you could, just continue building up tracks that way. So hopefully this helps kind of understand. If I want to add multiple scenes here, I can, and then I can with this selected, it's kind of bringing up the patterns, and then with this C1 I can just start dragging patterns over. B1, I can drag another pattern over if I want to. A1, just start dragging patterns and building up different scenes. And then from there, you've got your kind of clip launching aspect where you can do different scenes and things like that. Launch a clip. One thing I did figure out is if you're in song mode and say you're over here, you have this is where the playhead is. If you go back into scenes and you want scene 2, you want scene 2, you can hit paste the song, and you go back to song mode, and it'll paste everything that was in scene 2 across the board vertically, like that. So that's kind of cool. So hopefully this helps. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird to get your head around sometimes the way it works, but really you just need to live right here and know that you click on the top section right here, and it's going to bring you into the patterns of whatever bank you have selected, and then you can deselect, and and whenever you start arranging your song, it's just as easy as just dragging patterns over. And just remember that song mode is playing when all of these are highlighted. Scene mode is playing when these are kind of highlighted, and then you can have some scenes and some song mode playing at the same time, so that you can kind of audition sounds over multiple scenes, or whatever you want. So a lot of cool workflow ideas that can come out of this. And yeah, so you can just build up a bunch of patterns and just start laying them out. Now I would like to see a little bit, better implementation of kind of how to move some of these patterns around, or not necessarily move the patterns around, but I don't know. I can drag them around, but it just seems a little weird sometimes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. So let's try. So that's moving it. So I can only do it from one side. But I guess I could easily, you got the clip bar, and so I can, if I wanted to clip it right here in the middle, I could clip it and click, and then now it'll break that into two different patterns. You just gotta name your patterns so that whenever you do clip something, it'll copy that name, and it'll be a lot easier to manage what patterns you have where. And so you can easily clip the patterns, and that will make it easy to do some breaks and things like that. So hopefully this helps. Thanks guys for watching. I do have a Patreon if you're into that kind of thing, if you want to support good content on YouTube. If not, just continue just to like, comment on the videos, subscribe to my channel if you have not, and I will talk to you guys later.